All right, welcome everyone to another episode of Sports Ball with Palmer. Hey, Bo knows, Bo knows. Rushing touchdowns, passing touchdowns. Okay, Bo Paprilia, don't get mad at me. Okay, I know Bo Jackson, but especially being Mizzou fan and just in Missouri, of course, I feel like so many people have seen know or at least know about the Bo knows as in Bo Jackson, like those commercials. So of course everyone Bo, and then now with Mizzou's quarterback being named first name Bo, but Beau, that spelled that way. But people are joking that with his name being Bo, like said Bo, the whole Bo knows, and it's just kind of funny. As I just find it funny, especially being a Mizzou fan and living in Missouri. And I'm too young to have actually seen Bo Jackson play like in person. I've only seen highlights, but I don't know. I just find it funny. So, hey, Bo knows, baby. Bo knows. But kind of get serious real quick. Sam Horn got hurt in this game. The one play he came in for, he got hurt. It looked pretty serious. Now, they haven't come out with released any updated information regarding the injury, but like when they showed him on the broadcast, like he came out, he was in on crutches and already had a full cast on his leg, and just body language, it looked like it was season. So Sam Horn's season might be done. I feel for him, man, because he stuck it out. He stayed. He earned his time. Now, granted, I feel like Mizzou's upside is a lot higher with Bo Probilia, but I'm not saying Sam Horn was horrible. I mean, but I guess you could say if he would have been the quarterback, he would have been the quarterback, won the starting job. They wouldn't have been going into the transfer portal to try and get a quarterback. But man, I just feel for him as a person because I mean he stayed. You don't see a lot of guys whether stay at the program or just stay in college football. Because he did get drafted by the Dodgers in the draft this year, so he could have just said, "Nah, I'm gonna go play baseball. Good luck," and no feelings towards that. Like I wish the best for him. I hope he has a speedy recovery, however long it is. I mean, I hope he's not out, but just looking at body language, it looked like it was season. Like his season's done. He's not going to be playing football this year. So, with that in mind, hey, rehab, focus on baseball, go play baseball, Sam. Wish the best of luck to you. So. But now I will actually get into recapping this game last night against the Central Arkansas Bears, I think, because their logo had a bear, so I'm going to assume they're like something Bears, whatever. But regardless, Central Arkansas, Missouri against Central Arkansas. Whew, it was a beatdown. Obviously, you can learn stuff. There's still stuff that needs to be addressed, like the O line, because Bo took some hits, some unnecessary. I'm not okay. Obviously, as a quarterback, you're gonna take some hits. You are. That's just being a quarterback. But there was some hits he took unnecessarily, just because there was some miscommunication on the line. So that needs to be addressed. But this was week one. This is the first game of the season. First time you're not just hitting each other in practice. You were actually going up against an opponent. So I can expect there to be some rustiness, some kinks that need to be worked out. Now, if against Kansas it continues, if it continues into week 3 and throughout the season, or then I'm going to be a little bit more concerned. But against Central Arkansas, and again, yeah, even still in a game against Central Arkansas, yeah, you still don't want to see your quarterback taking those hits because it's Central Arkansas. You don't want him taking those hits in that game. Now, some of them were on Bo when he did scramble and run instead of, you know, sliding or stepping out of bounds. He took some hits there. And it's like, all right, okay, just slide, get out of bounds. You don't need to take a hit unnecessarily. So some of those were on both, some of those were on the offensive line. So if Bo can learn from that and actually, you know, slide, step out of bounds instead of taking some of those hits, especially now that you're most likely not going to have Sam Horn as a backup quarterback. Obviously, you still have you have Matt Zollers, highly touted freshman, but do you really want to turn? And I'm not trying to say like true freshmen can't handle. I mean, look at Michigan. They're starting Bryce Underwood. So now but sometimes you don't always want to completely go. Maybe wait till they're a sophomore. But so let Zollers sit on the bench and then come in games in the fourth, end of third quarter, fourth quarter when the game is well in hand and get him some reps that way. That I'm fine with, but and again, I think Zollers is probably the most talented quarterback on this roster, and that's no shade on Bo, but there's a reason Zollers is a highly touted recruit coming out of high school. So, but you kind of want to work him in, so Bo kind of needs to not take some of those hits so he can stay healthy, stay on the field. So, but they did what they absolutely needed to do. And then they actually covered because they were 35 and a half, 36-point favorites, which even I was thinking, because at least sometimes in these games, like with Drink, now like under Barry Odom, under Pinkel, we would run up the score in some of these games and like absolutely like, oh, we're 39-point favorites. Oh, well, like, okay, yeah, they'd cover that. But there's been some of these games like with Drink where in these non-con, playing a Central Arkansas, playing, I mean, just like some of these FCS schools are just, low level FBS, Division I schools that, he takes his foot off the gas and not that the game would be in question, but we would only win, like I said, we're 36-point favorites. We would only win, 28-7 or 31-7, something like that, and don't cover. And so, honestly, I bet the over, which was, I believe, 51 and a half. That definitely cashed. I mean, Mizzou cashed out on their own. So, but I did bet Central Arkansas to cover just because kind of week one, there's going to be a little bit rustiness, sloppiness, just because it's week one. And again, with Drink, Mizzou hasn't always covered these huge spreads. But hey, whatever. I lost like $10, so whatever. But they looked really good, did what they absolutely needed to do. And the backups got solid playing time. So love to see it. I kind of wanted the shutout because Central Arkansas, they scored with like 21 seconds. So it was kind of like, in my mind they did because like whatever, you scored with 21 seconds and like you could tell Mizzou didn't care because it was like, they got the ball back with like a minute or something. There was like no time in the game. And so like you could just tell they were just like, let's just get this game over with. Okay, whatever. You scored. So I say they got the shutout, but obviously, there's 6 on the board, but they were really good. First half, I mean, there was a little bit struggles. I mean, although they didn't even punt until fourth quarter, way late in the fourth quarter. Um, like, yeah, they didn't even punt until the fourth quarter, and obviously Bo Zollers was in at that point. I think that was even Zoller's first drive, I believe. So whatever. We punted one time and then we scored on our first like we scored on every possession in the first half because we were up. Mizzou was up 26-0, and we scored on every. Now there was a couple drives where we had to settle for field goals, which okay, like that was a little disappointing, but you scored on every possession. You didn't give up anything. Okay, cool. That's a win in my book. So, but you put a 60 burger up, which I don't even know when the last time Mizzou scored 60 points. So, hey, this was the game you needed to play. Um, Mizzou faced a and again, there's some of these scenarios that I'm glad they faced because now when you face the situation later in the season against obviously going to be a lot tougher opponents, like Mizzou faced some big third downs that all right, okay, cool, good. I'm glad we didn't just always pick it up on first down or always pick it up on second down. Like I'm glad again, so you can have that experience because if you're just constantly picking up, chunks on first and second down and not facing a third down, especially because Bo wasn't a starter. I mean, yeah, obviously you got playing time at Penn State, but he wasn't the starter at Penn State. So obviously he transferred here to be the starter and obviously compete in. So Sam Horn was going to play. Obviously he got in and played. Although I was kind of shocked because they were saying Bo was going to get the first half, Sam was going to get the second half, and then I feel like if the score still was like it was, maybe a little bit higher, that even Zoller still probably would have gotten into this game, probably obviously later than he did. Uh, so you probably would have seen all three quarterbacks play. But he came in the first quarter and I'm semi questioning the play call, but it did look like a read option. So, and I feel like he made the read. I mean, he got 6 yards. So, and injuries happen. Like Sam Horn still could have gotten injured in this game, dropping back to pass. The only I'm thinking is this feel as weird as okay, you were saying Bo was going to play the first half and then Sam the second half. So why did Sam Horn come in the first quarter? I mean, obviously Kirby or Drink had that design, had that plan. So, not going to completely question. It's just a little curious because you did say so. I mean, I think it was settled, and I think it was more Drink playing mind games against Kansas, who Mizzou is playing next week. So that, okay, we're going to play both. And I do feel like Sam Horn would have played. Like Sam Horn was going to play. I think it was more about, hey, putting stuff on camera for Kansas to have to prepare against both Bo and Sam Horn instead of only preparing for one. Well, now again, I feel like it was decided like Bo was going to be the starter, but Bo Prabila is definitely going to be Mizzou's starting quarterback for the rest of the season, barring injury. And knock on wood, I hope he doesn't get hurt. So, but I feel like again you do. I just don't want to completely throw Zollers in under fire. Now he could shine, and I hope he. And if that happens, I hope he does. He goes out and balls out and shines. Yes. But I hope Bo stays healthy for the entire season. So, but the quarterback battle, what I'm sure there was a little bit one, maybe probably to start, but probably as camp went on, Bo probably separated himself even if Drink, because I know Drink was saying like, okay, yeah, you know, they didn't really announce anything until the week of when they were saying, all right, we're going to play both. So, and I know there was other times when asked about, all right, who's going to be the starting quarterback against Central Arkansas, or even just in general, who's going to be, he would say, we're still deciding that. So now, again, yeah, and I love it because Drink does like to play mind games with his opponents. Like it could have been him trying to play mind games, and it was going to be Bo, but it's for sure going to be Bo now. But he looked really, really good. And again, I know it's Central Arkansas, but Bo, especially this being his first career start and actually being the starter and not just coming in and mop up duty. Because even when he would come in, now I didn't really watch a lot of them at Penn State, so, but from what I have heard and seen and read, is that when he would come in, he wouldn't really throw the ball because again, obviously Penn State would be up. Like obviously if he needed to, but he'd hardly drop back to pass. It was mostly, hand the ball off or him run. So this game he actually did and some of his balls were. And going back to the third down, Mizzou faced a big third down and it was like 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. It wasn't super long, but so it was about third and medium. Bo picked it up running. Like, all right, good, cool. Glad we could face some of those scenarios. Mizzou also had 2 99-yard touchdown drives. Like, yeah, it stinks we got pinned, but the fact we had to go through those scenarios, so if we have a situation later in the season, like say when we play South Carolina or play Oklahoma or play Auburn or even next week against Kansas, the fact we had those scenarios twice where we had to go 99 yards and we went 99. Yes, okay, you can say opponent, and then I'm keep going on this, but yeah, but the fact that you still they're still trying to stop you. Like it doesn't matter. They're still trying to. They're not just going to be like, "Hey, go 99 yards." Like we're not going to do anything. Like no, obviously they were trying to stop, but Mizzou was able to go 99 yards twice for touchdowns. But again, Bo looked really good last night. His first touchdown of the game was on our first drive. A beautiful 51-yard bomb to Marquise Johnson. Oh, it was beautiful. Hit him right in stride. Johnson has speed, and obviously he had separated. So like if that ball is underthrown, I don't think it would have been intercepted, but it would have been like, okay, he catches it, but then his tackle doesn't score a touchdown. Bo hit him right in stride. Boom, touchdown. Like, let's go. Yeah, and he had 2 passing touchdowns. His other one was to Brett Norfleet, and then he had 2 rushing touchdowns. So he had 4 total touchdowns. Oh, yeah, Bo looked really good. And just looking at his stats, he was 23 of 28 for 283 yards. Yeah, that'll do. He ended up with 65 yards rushing, so over a 300-yard total performance. He just looked really good. And I loved Brady. He is a true son of Mizzou. But, man, the upside with this offense is a lot higher with Bo. He is a lot faster, more healthy Brady Cook. Now, I hope Brady Cook catches on in the NFL, even if it is just as a backup. I wish him the best. I hope he does. I know he was waived by the Jets, but I think he could land on their practice squad. So, hey, there's still a role there. But, I hope he does good. Zollers had 3 pass attempts for 58 yards and a touchdown. Again, he was mostly handing the ball off, because, again, you were up so much, like, you don't need Zollers. You don't even need Zollers getting hurt. So, but Ahmad Hardy led the Tigers in rushing with 100 yards. He also had a touchdown. Uh, then Jamal Roberts, who actually was more of the starter, he ended up with only 33 yards. But again, you were kind of rotating guys in. Marquise Davis, he had a rushing touchdown, his first. Obviously, Hardy, his first. And then Marquise Johnson led the team in receiving. He had 5 receptions for 134 yards and that touchdown. Then Joshua Manning, he looked good. He had 4 receptions for 53 yards. Kevin Coleman, who was the transfer from Mississippi State, he led with the team in receptions. He had 6 for 48. Jude James, he had a touchdown. His only reception was for 40 yards. Donovan Olugabe, I'm probably mispronouncing that, who is a big receiving recruit coming in. He looked good. He had some good catches. He had 4 for 37, and Northfleet had 3 for 9. But yeah, and I mean, just going down. I mean, you had a lot of people come in and play. So then defensively, like I said, they almost had the shutout. They forced 2 turnovers. They had a fumble recovery, and then they also had a pick 6 in the game. They had 2 sacks from Damon Wilson, who, I am excited to watch him play. So, and again, I think the Tigers defense is being a little bit slept on. They have been, obviously, you've lost guys over the last couple years to the NFL and, of course, transfer portal, but I am excited to see this defense play. And I'm excited for next week. Because honestly, it's official KU hate week. So border work, baby. I am excited for that game next week. Obviously, Tigers 61, 6 victors and are 1-0 to start the season. It was a 55-point victory. So again, they covered that spread. And then this is also their 11th straight home win, which I believe they said either ties Mizzou's school record or it set the record. Because I think it was, if it set the record, it was 10, so then they broke it, or this ties, and then the next win at home, obviously, if they don't lose. So if they beat, which again, they start the season with 5 home games. So as long as they keep winning those, or at least until they play Alabama. Now, again, I predicted that they would beat Alabama, but they obviously could lose that game and might lose that game. But if they win all those, obviously it'll keep the home winning streak going. And they also have the sellout streak going. So, yeah, it was like kind of a rough first couple years for Drink, but these last couple years, obviously it was 9-win regular season, 10 including the bowl, but after back-to-back 10-plus win seasons, he has, 21 because we were 10-2 and then had the bowl game, so we were 11-2. So this is 21 wins in the last 2 seasons. So he has got this program pointed in a good direction. So I really hope we see that success continue this year. But I am looking forward to that game next week as Mizzou will take on Kansas at School to the West in the border. It's not border showdown. It's border war next week in Columbia, Missouri. So, and unfortunately, I did see Game Day has already announced where they're going next week. This week they are in Columbus, Ohio for the Texas-Ohio State game. Obviously, deservedly so. It's number 1 versus number 3. Yeah, there's some other good games and good ranked games Saturday, but they should be in Columbus for this game. And it's also Lee Corso's final game, which, oh my gosh, I am not emotionally ready for Lee Corso to retire. He has been an icon in college football for the last 20 plus years. I mean, I'm not even 30. I mean, I'll be 30 in a couple months, but man, every Saturday turning on game day, and I know others can attest and agree with this, just watching him, like turning on game day, and of course, watching him, with the mascot, putting on that, you know, I was always, that's been so fun. Like, I don't think you can continue that because there's not going to be another Lee Corso. Like, I love Kirk Herbstreit and I love Desmond Howard and I love Pat McAfee on the show and Saban adds, a good, but you just aren't going to have another Lee Corso. So I feel like you can't do, like, obviously they'll still do the picks, but like I feel like you can't do the whole like helmet, mascot wearing any, because that was Lee. Like that was his, like him doing that. So if you haven't watched that documentary on the ESPN app, well, with through ESPN Plus, you gotta watch it. You check it out. I mean, I'm sure they'll probably, uh, and I think they probably showed a little bit last week. I think they showed something before the Kansas State Iowa State game, but I feel like especially with obviously this being his last show, they're going to show something from that. And I know there's been clips out there. Like I am not emotionally ready for Lee. Over under me crying tomorrow during that, like over 10. Like, oh, I'm going to be crying happy emotional tears watching Lee in his last college game day. I know that was a little side, but man, I thank you, coach. Seriously, thank you for everything you've done for college football. Enjoy your retirement, coach. You've earned it. So, but like I said, Mizzou will play Kansas next week. So I will preview. English is my second language. I can't speak English at all. I will be previewing that game next week. But I just wanted to have a look ahead at who their next opponent is, and that is obviously the Kansas Chicken Hawks. Yeah, it's Chicken Hawks. Yeah, come at me. It's Chicken Hawks. But then also last night, the Nebraska Cornhuskers won what ended up being a crazy game that almost had me being, here we go again. They're going to lose another close one-score game. But they didn't. Hey, go Big Red. They've won against the Cincinnati Bearcats. Now, I think that game being played at Arrowhead, if you watched that game last night, there was times where obviously they were paying the crowd. I swear there was like 10 Cincinnati fans, and that's kind of including Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce because they were at the game. I mean, they showed them, and I know it was all over Twitter that they were at the game. Of course, Taylor Swift is at the game. Patrick Mahomes ended up being at the game, and there were some other Chiefs players that were at the game. So I feel like there was like 10. Like there were not really any Cincinnati fans there at all. Like it was easily like 99.8% Nebraska fans. So you can't tell me that did not have a different an effect on that game, especially on Cincinnati's left drive and just even throughout the game. You could hear the Nebraska fans. Like, again, it was basically then a Nebraska home game. But Nebraska pulled it out. But again, it was kind of frustrating. So first quarter, they were held scoreless and just did not look good. Then you kind of had a let up in the second quarter, or at least a little bit from both teams. Cincinnati did take a early 3-0 lead. Nebraska tied it at 3, then took the lead 6-3. Then Dylan Raiola had a beautiful passing touchdown to Najee Hunter. I think I said this name right. at least his first name. I think Naze, something like that. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. I really do apologize. Like I'm trying to get it right. Uh, just like kind of looking at it, not looking up a pronunciation. So maybe I should look up, but Najee Hunter. Oh, he had a great catch. Gave Nebraska a 13-3 lead going into halftime. And it really looked like Nebraska was going to cruise. Yeah, the defense played shaky a little bit, but again, for any of the games week one, like I'm trying not to get like super high and also not trying to get super low, but I'm also going to be super high and super low a little bit just because that's how we are as fans. That's how we always overreact to every game, and especially week one games. Like, let's see what they look like next week. Let's see what they look like because this is week one. Oh, there was a lot. I mean, I know I was watching a lot, pretty much every game. Not every game, just about every game last night. And I'm going to be watching a lot of the games tonight. I'm going to be watching all day Saturday, be watching the 2 games Sunday, going to watch the Monday game. Now, granted, Sunday and Monday, obviously, less easier to focus on. But if you love college football like me, you're going to be watching a lot of these games. So, and I was watching, like, Boise's, like, there was teams that just didn't look good. So it's like they still won, but they won very sloppily. So let's see what they look like next week before we truly, like, and for some of these teams, you're not going to truly know what they are until September, October, which I know, like, I would say it's more September. So give it a month before we truly can get a feel on who these teams are and what they look like. But I mean, props to Nebraska. They pulled this out. Like this was a gutty win and a win. Honestly, I feel like they had to get because there is a lot of hype. There is a lot of expectations and a lot of not just Nebraska, like people, uh, that cover the team, but nationally there is a lot of, hey, Nebraska is going to be a sneaky team this year in the Big Ten, and I mean I do think they are. I'm not going to change that, at least right now. I think they are a team to watch and look out for in the Big Ten this year. But you have that, like you have people. So if they would have dropped this game, like obviously it would have been a non-conference loss, but it also would be a loss that not ugly, but it could be a loss that keeps them, what could have kept them out of the playoff. So, but you got the win. So great, win ball games. Like that's the thing is, uh, and especially more so in football than baseball, because again of how short. Like don't take wins for granted. Like at the end of the day, it's the win that matters. It can be as pretty or as ugly. This wasn't the prettiest of wins for Nebraska. Like not like Mizzou. Mizzou came out, dominated, start to finish that game. Nebraska had to battle, especially in the second half and especially in the fourth quarter for this game. And that's honestly how, like, are there blowouts? Do blowouts happen? Obviously. I mean, 6-1-6 Mizzou. But a lot of games come down to the fourth quarter and who can make the most plays and who can make the plays when they count. Nebraska did that last night. Now, it was heart attack stressful as a fan, but, so Huskers did outscore Cincinnati. They trailed at the end of the first 3-0, but they outscored Cincinnati 13-0. And again, it looked like they were going to kind of cruise to at least a 10-point, maybe even 13-point victory and definitely cover the spread because they were favored by 6.5. And I thought they would cover and they didn't. Now they won the ball game. I'm happy about that. So, but, and then they came out. I mean, third quarter was sloppy. Like they didn't score and it was like, okay, we're letting, because Cincinnati then scored to cut the lead to 13-10, and it did seem like every time Nebraska pushed it out, Cincinnati had an answer. So I'll give Cincinnati that credit too. Every time Nebraska pushed the game out, pushed the lead out, they had an answer almost immediately. Because Cincinnati came out to start the third quarter, and they scored on their first drive. So now then, he didn't have his best game, and I do hope to see improvement this year in his sophomore season and not have a sophomore slump. But then he had a nice touchdown to Dinky to put them up 20-10, and then they got the stop, and it looked like they were going to get another score and just win comfortably. But then Cincinnati came down fourth quarter, punched it in, and kept it close. And then Nebraska had an opportunity on their last drive to even at least kick a field goal. Now, obviously, it didn't look like they were just trying for the field goal. Like, obviously, they were trying to, like, truly put the game away and score the touchdown. But then they ended up having to punt and gave the ball back to Cincinnati with just over 2 minutes. I mean, now Cincinnati had no timeouts, but they ended up giving the ball back. And then, honestly, they had them stopped, but a key – and again, I think we need to go over pass. Like, there has to be times where there's offensive pass interference. Like, there's pass interference on the play, but it was the offensive guy. Like, at least to me, it looked like he had it, it was just an underthrown ball. And of course, it's going to be pass interference. But, like, he was turning around, he was looking, and the receiver grabbed the defender, like, pulled him into him to obviously get the call, and he got the call. But it's like, what's the defender supposed to do in that situation? Like, there was nothing he could have done. And obviously, and it was on fourth down, and that could have ended the drive there, but obviously it kept the drive going. Now, then they got the stop on a huge game-ending interception. Oh, my goodness. Thank you, Malcolm Hartzog. Oh, that interception just – that ended it. Huskers win 2017. They go to 1-0 on the season. And then they will actually play Akron next week at home for their home opener. So that should be a win. Obviously, anything can happen, but that should be a win. But Huskers are 1-0, big-time victory to start the season. So hopefully they can continue that next week and get to 2-0. But like I said, Ryle, he had his moments. There's still room for improvement. He was 33 of 42 for 243 yards and 2 touchdowns. Emmett Johnson led the team in rushing. He had 108 yards. Najee Hunter led the team in receiving yards with 65. Dan Key had 51. Luke Lindenmeyer had 47. So they ended up recovering 1 fumble and again had the interception. So they forced 2 turnovers against Cincinnati. They didn't turn the ball over. So again, in a lot of games, turnovers too, like in the Mizzou. Mizzou had forced 2 turnovers. They didn't turn the ball over. Now, granted, I don't think they were really in danger of losing, but winning the turnover battle definitely helps. Nebraska forced 2 turnovers. And again, especially in a 1-score game like it was, that's the difference there too, is Nebraska forced 2 turnovers. And again, the defense needs to clean some stuff up, but they are still a good unit for the Huskers, that black shirt defense. So Huskers 1-0. Go Big Red. And again, they will play Akron next week. And then I'm also going to recap those. Not every Thursday game, at least the main ones, but look back on those games and then look ahead to Saturday, Sunday, and Monday's action. Which, like college football is back. We got a fun weekend in store. I'm really looking forward to it because there's some big games tomorrow. I mean, obviously, you got Texas, Ohio State. I mean, you even got Alabama, Florida State. You got LSU, Clemson. So, but so you have last night. ESPN, stop being weird. Like I said, you had those, and then you had Oklahoma. This was a team that I didn't say, but at least was referring to that honestly looked really sloppy last night. Like they were big, heavy favorites. They did not cover, but Oklahoma State won 27-7 over UT Martin. But again, now they have the new quarterback coming in, so okay, like obviously teams with new quarterbacks, yeah, you're gonna need to work out some kinks. But they kind of looked a little sloppy. Like they easily should, but they didn't put them away. I mean, they still obviously weren't comfortable. Really, that result wasn't in doubt, but they didn't look all that good. But Oklahoma State won 27-7. And here's another one. Yeah, I know they were. Oh, this one made me a little bit mad because I kind of went back. I was going to pick Miami of Ohio to cover, and obviously they covered because Wisconsin was 17.5. They only scored 17. They needed to get 18. They didn't cover. I'm like, come on, Wisconsin. But hey, Maction, the MAC in Big Ten. Oh man, the MAC kind of took it to the Big Ten, at least covering wise. Like they gave them Big Ten some tough games. But Wisconsin won 17-0. I should say Oklahoma State 1-0. Wisconsin won 17-0. They're 1-0. Whew. I think there is definitely going to be some growing pains. I mean, UCF only won 17-10 over Jack State. Yeah. Oof. Yeah. Okay. So UCF 1-0. Houston beat Stephen F. Austin 27-0. They're 1-0. Ooh. I mean, not complete shocker. I'm more shocked at the final score than the result because I thought they could win. Just because, and again, I'm referring to the Boise State, South Florida game. Like, I knew with Ashton Genty going to the NFL that Boise State's going to have some growing pains. But, man, they got absolutely killed. 34-7. Man. Oh, man. That, oof. Yes. Now, granted, and after this, I'm going to, like I said, preview Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays action. And obviously, even specifically, Kansas State, Michigan, and Miami. Just a kind of quick look. Like, I have people saying Notre Dame. I've heard people, like, listening to some talk show radio this morning, and I've heard people, oh, Notre Dame is just going to go out there and dominate. Like, they're like, okay, Notre Dame might be the better team, and they could be. I'm not saying that now. I think Miami, people are underrating Miami just because, again, they're always overhyped, and then they don't live up. And that could happen. I'm not saying that. But you are playing in Florida. And now, granted, I can't remember who it was. And I know he's more of an NFL guy, so I'll slightly forgive him. But, like, this isn't the NFL. Now, granted, early season games in Florida, like, going to Jacksonville, going to Tampa, going to Miami, especially for a northern team that isn't used to playing in that heat, it's brutal. Like they have an edge at that point in the season. Miami, Tampa, and Jacksonville dudes, especially because they play outdoors. They don't play in a dome. Now for a team like the Cowboys or the Texans or like the Chiefs, because if you live in Missouri, like I live in Missouri, now granted we're a little bit unseasonably cool right now. Like it's been in the high 70s, low 80s, which I mean, oh, perfect weather. Oh, I love it. But normally it's in the low 90s, upper 90s this time of year. So at least for here, now that heat is definitely different, but like you're still used to playing in some sort of heat. So it's not like super like there's still an adjustment, but like okay, you've been playing. Okay, I know what what preparation you need to do so that you're ready to play and can make it through the game. For the teams that play in the North, you're not used to playing that heat, so you don't completely know what kind of preparation you got to do for that game. You saw it with Boise State. They play in Utah. It is not hot. It does like it might occasionally like I haven't. Well, I've been, but it wasn't in the summer, so I don't know. But I do know it doesn't get like will it get into the 90s? Most I'm pretty sure it does, but it's not the kind of heat like in Florida. They're not used to that kind. They got absolutely killed, and they got worn out by the second half. By midway through, they were exhausted. Like watching, like you could tell Boise State. So Notre Dame playing up north in Indiana and South Bend, it does not get that hot in Indiana this time of year. Like it's still hot in Florida right now. And again, I'll forgive them slightly because NFL, yeah, okay, like obviously being a Chiefs fan, like yeah, Arrowhead absolutely is an advantage. Like Buffalo has an advantage, and obviously definitely in December and January, but even just with the crowd, like Lambeau, home field, Denver, obviously more of the altitude, but like Denver has a home field advantage. Philly, I would say it's tough to go into Pittsburgh, but like is there a home field advantage in the NFL and especially come playoff time? Yes, but in college, whether it's college football or college basketball, there is definite field, home court advantage. Even being a Mizzou fan, try going into Allen Fieldhouse. I'm thinking you can just walk in there and get a win. Not going kind of football, but like try going into the big house. Try going, and I hate Ohio State, but try going into there. Try going into Penn State. Try going into Oregon. Try going into Nebraska. Try going into Alabama, Georgia. I can just keep going on and on to make this like a 2-hour video. There is 100% home field, and especially for those Florida teams, for Florida State. Obviously, I mean, kind of just the big ones. Florida State, Florida, Miami, but even UCF, USF, for teams that aren't used to playing in that heat, especially for the northern teams, it is brutal, and that heat is real. Notre Dame having to go to Miami. If this game was being played in South Bend, I would give the edge to Notre Dame. This game being played in Miami, Miami is going to. Now, Miami could still lose, but Miami is going to win this game. I don't understand people just saying Notre Dame is going to go in there and crush them. I do not realize that this game is being. Like, are you just underestimating this game being played in Florida? Like, yes, I know Miami is playing where the Dolphins play, but Miami has huge home field advantage in this game. So, sorry to get off on that rant, and I'll cover at least more game wise a little bit more when I do talk about Miami in that game on Sunday night. But yeah, South Florida dominated Boise State. Like you could tell there was a home field advantage. This game turned out to be a little bit more of a shootout than I thought it would, but Rutgers, and again, hey, Mac playing Big Ten tough. Rutgers beat Ohio 34-31. They are 1-0. I thought they could win. They didn't, but they played them tough. And hey, they actually came back and made it. They gave NC State a scare. But the NC State Pussy Pack beat East Carolina 24-21. NC State goes to 1-0. Duke beat Elon 45-17. They go to 1-0. And then Minnesota beat Buffalo. They go to 1-0. And other than only one I know I wrote it down. I don't have it pulled up, and I'll go more over it when I do a bigger recap on most likely Monday, maybe Tuesday. I think I picked South Florida, but maybe I didn't. But other than that, I mean, only East Carolina for sure. I picked East Carolina, but pretty much had a perfect Thursday picking games. So that's so. And then, like I said, we got Saturday coming up and I'll even cover Miami, but I will start with Kansas State. As again, they played last week on week 0 for Farmageddon in Ireland and dropped that game. So obviously they're 0-1, but also they're 0-1 in conference play. Now this week they will play North Dakota. Obviously the bigger one is South Dakota for FCS. So Kansas State should win this game and should win it handily. I'm trying to look up what the spread is, but I don't see it on ESPN. I don't see a spread on this game. I mean, I know Kansas State's going to be favored, but they should win this game, should win it highly. I mean, I'm looking for Avery Johnson to bounce back, but especially if they're up big going to halftime, like I think they will be. Avery Johnson probably doesn't play the second. Now I'm still going to see how he plays, but I can still see Kansas State just turning around and handing the ball off a ton in this game, even with Avery Johnson in. But I'm not saying he played a horrible game last week, but again, I want to see that steady improvement from last year and then going into this year. So I want to see him have that improvement. Then next, I mean, I just gotta scroll to it. I got my notes here. I just gotta scroll to it. Michigan is playing New Mexico at home in the Big House to start the season for their home opener. Again, just an opponent they should easily beat. I mean, looking at it, they are favored by 34.5. So they're obviously heavy favorites for a reason. They should win this game going away. I'm excited to see Bryce Underwood play. Like, that's what I'm really looking forward to in this game, is watching Bryce Underwood play. I mean, yeah, go Blue. But I'm excited to see what he does. And they got some good Justice Haynes they got from Nebraska in the transfer portal. So, just again, this is a game they should win and win handily. I want to see him play a clean game, no injuries, or at least, I mean, not that I'm rooting for injuries, but no impactful injuries. Let's say, like, if injuries happen, not that I'm rooting for that. I don't want to see anyone get injured, but hopefully, like, I don't want to put those vibes out there either. Like, hopefully Bryce Underwood doesn't get hurt or anything like that. But get out of this, just play a clean game, get the backups, let them get some playing time. Just go in and dominate. Go win this game. And again, Bryce playing this game at the big house, he's going to get used to playing. He'll be used to playing in front of a massive crowd before Nebraska heads to Norman next weekend to play Oklahoma. But Michigan should be 1-0 after this game. I predict them to win. Oh, and I'll say Kansas State, I'm predicting them to win. They'll get to 1-1 on the season. Michigan can get to 1-0. I predict them to get to 1-0. Then, like I said, for Sunday, Miami is playing Notre Dame. A massive, Miami is ranked 10th and Notre Dame is ranked 6th. So you have a huge top 10 clash to start the season. I'm excited for it. I really think Miami can potentially win a national championship this year. I really feel like they're going to have a really good season. But this is going to be a huge game. Carson Beck is making his Miami debut after transferring from Georgia last year. So we'll see how he does in his first game at the U. But other than that, obviously, and Miami has some new receivers. Some are turning. Their O-line is honestly the strength of their team, and especially being Cristobal, who's a former Hurricane player, and he was an offensive lineman. You would expect Miami to have a really good O-line, and they do. So, can they win the trenches? Can they win the turnover battle? Because, Notre Dame is still going to bring it. But again, like I was saying, I don't feel like they're going to be prepared for this heat. Now, I don't think that's going to mean Miami just absolutely blows them away. But I will say Miami is probably going to, and I'm not going to completely I'm not going to give a score. I'm just going to say I feel like they're going to win by like 10-17. Kind of blow them out, but still be a close game. And again, I feel like it's like a lot of games do. It's going to come down to the turnover battle, and it's going to come down to the fourth quarter. Who can make the plays when it matters the most? And Miami being at home in front of that home crowd is going to be a huge advantage. And in that heat, Miami is going to win this game. They're going to get to 1-0 on the season. Now, like I said, I'm going to preview and look at Saturday, the rest of Saturday's action, and Sunday and Monday as well. Just got to get to it. It's being a little slow. I don't know why. ESPN is being slow right now. But Bob Morris is heading to Morgantown, West Virginia to take on the Mountaineers. Give me the Mountaineers. 1-0. Marshall has the Georgia between the hedges. Marshall's like literally replacing their entire team after they fired their head coach, even after he had just won a Sun Belt title. Like, I don't understand. So, and then even rightfully, I can't remember where he went. But like literally pretty much the entire team transferred to the school that he went to. So I think if that wouldn't have happened, now I think obviously they still would lose this game, but I feel like they would have given Georgia a little bit, at least for a half, a lot tougher fight than what they're going to get. Like, oh, wow. I figured it would be a little bit higher. Okay, but still. Georgia's 39.5-point favorites. I feel like they cover that and cover that with ease. Like, they might even cover that in the first half already. So, I think it's going to be both, but Georgia's going to win. They're going to get to 1-0. Then, South Dakota is going to head to Ames, Iowa to take on the Iowa State Cyclones. As again, Iowa State played last week. They're already 1-0 and 1-0 in conference play. They're going to get to 2-0. Then Albany heads to Iowa City to Kinnick to play the Iowa Hawkeyes. Iowa wins 1-0. Then the UTSA Roadrunners head to College Station to play the Texas A&M Fighting Aggies. Aggies get to 1-0. Then a huge game. LSU and Clemson. LSU is ranked number 9. Clemson is ranked number 4. LSU, heads to the other Death Valley because LSU's stadium is Death Valley too. So it's kind of the battle of who's the better Death Valley. But they will head to Death Valley and Clemson to take on the Clemson Tigers. Oh, I am excited for this game. This is going to be a really fun and entertaining game because both have high expectations coming into this year. Like not just conference winning like playoff expectations, national championship winning expectations. And honestly, both LSU's coming in having lost 4 for sure, but I think even 5 in a row home openers. Clemson has lost 2 in a row and 4 out of 5. So both teams have are coming in not having great success week 1. So for one of these teams, one of these schools, it's going to end because you can't end in a tie. So one of these teams is going to walk away with a win. I think it's going to be Clemson. Again, home field matters a lot in college football, college basketball. And they're not, I know Clemson is the favorite. They're only 4.5, so obviously they're not huge favorites, which again, I wouldn't expect them to be a touchdown favorite against LSU. I thought they would be more like 3.5, so they got a point. And I'm sure this line has probably moved, but at least what it is right now, Clemson is 4.5 point favorites. I'm not going to say if they cover or not because this game could come down to a field goal. And obviously they wouldn't cover if they only kick a field goal, which again, that's why I'm surprised that's not a 3.5 point, which obviously winning by 3, if it's 3.5 wouldn't cover, 3 would only push. So, but I think Clemson wins this game. And I know there's a fair amount of people picking Clemson, so I'm kind of jumping on that, but I'm just not a huge believer in Brian Kelly. I really am not. I think I almost said Notre Dame because that's where he came from before going to LSU. If LSU succeeds and does really good this year, I think it's going to be in spite of Brian Kelly, not because of Brian Kelly. Because again, their offense is now it's not 2019 level, but their offense with Garrett Nussmeier at quarterback, they are loaded. They're going to be a really good offense. Clemson with Cade Klubnik, I think veteran, just him being a veteran. Clemson and Miami are the top 2 teams in the ACC. So, but I think Clemson wins this game. And then you got Arkansas Pine Bluff heading to Lubbock, Texas to take on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Texas Tech wins 1-0. Nevada will head to Happy Valley and take on the Penn State Nittany Lions. Penn State wins 1-0. Montana heads to Eugene, Oregon to take on the Oregon. I don't know why I'm doing a southern accent there. Heads to Oregon to take on the Oregon Ducks. Oregon wins 1-0. Missouri State heads to LA to take on the USC Trojans. USC wins 1-0. Georgia State will head to, I can't think of the city, I'm blanking, but they head to Ole Miss and take on the Ole Miss Rebels. Ole Miss wins 1-0. East Texas A&M heads to Dallas, Texas to take on the SMU Mustangs. SMU wins 1-0. Now, and obviously, I think Texas, I don't know how, but at least they got it to where this game wasn't going to be played at night, and I don't blame them. But the big game of the day, Texas versus Ohio State in Columbus. Number 1 versus number 3. I hate both teams. I gotta pick someone, and I hate, and even being a Michigan fan, I probably should hate, I should be picking Texas, but horns down, Ohio State. Oh gosh, I'm choking. I feel so horrible to even say. Oh man. Oh gosh, gotta take a nice professional drink of Dr. Pepper. Regroup here, because that was just disgusting. Saying that coming out of my mouth. But horns down. And screw Ohio State. Oh man, there's a headache. Oh man, I can't. Please forgive me, Michigan fans, for any Michigan fan watching this. Please forgive me for picking them. And a lot of this is coming from being a Mizzou and Nebraska fan as well. I just hate Texas so freaking much. And obviously I really hate Ohio State, but like, man, I hate. This is like, they have like Ohio State and Oklahoma. Like, I don't like both teams. Although in that case, I will pick. I did root for Oklahoma and would pick Oklahoma, but this. Oh man, I know I'm dragging it, but that feels awful to say. Okay. All right. Moving on. This is actually a neutral site, and I didn't realize it until the other day. But this is actually a neutral site game. They're playing in Atlanta, Georgia, but Syracuse will take on Tennessee. The Tennessee Volunteers. Tennessee wins 1-0. Mississippi State heads to I'm trying to look at it. Come on. Hattiesburg, yes. Thank you. Hattiesburg, Mississippi, for a little in-state clash against the Southern Miss. I'm actually going to pick Southern Miss. Like, I feel like they can win this game. Mississippi State is not that good. They're easily, arguably, the worst team in the SEC. Yeah, I think Southern Miss can win, or at least cover, but I think that they can even win the game outright. Yeah, I mean, Mississippi State is, and I feel like obviously it's Mississippi State, they're SEC. Like, Mississippi State's 14.5-point favorites. Again, I feel like Southern Miss covers that, but I feel like they can even win this game outright. FAU heads to Maryland to take on the Maryland Terrapins. Maryland wins 1-0. Ball State will head to Purdue, who Purdue's arguably the worst team in the Big Ten, but yeah, I'm still going to pick them. Purdue, 1-0. Northwestern will head to New Orleans, Louisiana, to take on the Tulane Green Wave. Tulane wins 1-0. Okay, nope, sorry. Northwestern's there fighting with Purdue for being the worst in the Big Ten. Duquesne will head to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to take on the Pitt Panthers. Pitt wins 1-0. VMI will head to Annapolis, Maryland to take on the Navy Midshipmen. Navy wins 1-0. Toledo will head to Lexington, Kentucky and take on the Kentucky Wildcats. Kentucky wins 1-0. Fordham will head to Boston to take on Boston College. Boston College wins. BC wins 1-0. Old Dominion will head to No, that's Purdue. I can't think of where Indiana. They head to Indiana to take on the Indiana Hoosiers. Indiana wins 1-0. East Kentucky will head to Louisville to take on the Louisville Cardinals. Louisville wins 1-0. Another kind of big game, but I feel like it's going to get out of hand. because, again, I'm not high on them. But Alabama heads to Saudi Arabia State, a.k.a. Florida State, to take on the Florida State Seminoles. And the Alabama Crimson Tide. Crimson Tide wins 1-0. Roll Tide. There you go, Larry. You got me to say Roll Tide. There it is. Roll Tide. Bucknell heads to Colorado Springs to take on Air Force Academy Falcons. Air Force wins 1-0. Alabama A&M heads to Fayetteville to take on the Arkansas Razorbacks. Arkansas wins 1-0. Illinois State will head to Norman to take on the Oklahoma Sooners. Oklahoma wins 1-0. Coastal Carolina will head to Charlottesville. I believe that's where Virginia, but to head to Virginia to take on the Virginia Cavaliers. I'm actually going to put Coastal in this one. Coastal wins 1-0. The Long Island Sharks are swimming. They will take on the Florida Gators, but Florida wins 1-0. Hey, got you there. Charleston will head to Nashville to take on the Vanderbilt Commodores. Vanderbilt wins 1-0. Portland State will head to BYU to take on the BYU Cougars. BYU wins 1-0. Like I said, I'm kind of mostly just picking the big, like, top 25 matchups and then big ACC, Big 10, Big 12, and SEC. And maybe even a little Pac-2 action. But Northern Arizona a little in-state clash here. We'll head to Arizona State. Sun Devils. Arizona State wins 1-0. Idaho will head to Washington State to take on those Cougars. Washington State wins 1-0. The Cal Golden Bears head to Oregon State Beavers. Oregon State wins 1-0. Hawaii will head to Arizona to take on the Arizona Wildcats. Arizona wins 1-0. Utah will head to LA to take on the UCLA Bruins. Utah Utes are going to win 1-0. Colorado State Rams. Ram it. Yeah. They will head to Washington to take on the Washington Huskies. Washington wins 1-0. And then now we get to the Sunday games. Again, I already talked about Miami, Notre Dame. But Virginia Tech will head to Hokies will head to South Carolina to take on those South Carolina Gamecocks and Beamer Ball. I'm actually going to pick Virginia Tech here. Virginia Tech wins 1-0. And then Monday, TCU heads to North Carolina to take on the Fighting Bill Belichick's, a.k.a. the North Carolina Tar Heels. I'm going to pick TCU here. TCU wins 1-0. Well, this is going to be a long episode, I knew, especially with a much, much bigger slate than last week. Boy, I am ready for it this weekend to just sit and watch college football all day Saturday. Yeah, I'm ready. College football's back. I hope you guys enjoy the action this weekend because there's plenty of college football action. There's plenty of MLB action, which, of course, those are the only two in action right now because NFL won't kick off the regular season until next week. And then, hey, it's full time. You know, you got end of MLB regular season. You got college football kicking off. You got NFL kicking off. And then pretty soon it'll be college basketball season. Pretty soon it'll be NBA and NHL season as well. You also have NASCAR going on, which the NASCAR playoffs are starting this weekend. So, hey, it's a great time to be a sports fan. Like this is like obviously, and I love MLB. It's like the, I mean, well, and you still got MLS too, and I believe you even have Premier League kicking off here this weekend, if not soon, if it hasn't already kicked off. I think it might have already kicked off their season. Obviously, you got MLS going on, although that season's winding down, getting towards the playoffs. So obviously, they've been playing during the summer too. But like during the summer, it's especially after June when the NBA and NHL playoff ends from like the end of June, like kind of even middle of June, and then July, and like pretty much all of August until the last week of August is baseball. Like that's, and you have a little bit of MLS. Like that's like the only thing. Now is when the the sports schedule starts filling up because you again got MLB going on, college football starting, NFL starting, college basketball starting here in a couple months, and the NBA and NHL starting in a couple months, MLS soccer, and I know obviously it's England, but Premier League. Oh, this is just a fun time for, and again NASCAR. Just a fun time to be a sports fan with all this action going on. I'm excited for it. I love it. But that will be this episode. Now, next episode, I'm not sure in what order, but next episodes, I will be talking about recapping the weekend of MLB action because there's some big series this weekend. Orioles are playing the Tigers. Blue Jays are playing the Brewers. Phillies are playing the Braves. I mean, there's some fun action this weekend for MLB. Of course, you got, I mean, yeah, you had week 0 last week, but really fully college football kicking off this weekend. So I'm going to recap all the action and recap, especially the Michigan, Kansas State, and Miami games. As I've already in this episode talked about Missouri and Nebraska as they played last night, Thursday night. So that will be my next episodes is again recapping MLB weekend and the full weekend of the first full weekend of college football. So please tune into those episodes and then also like and subscribe to this video and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can get notified when I release those new episodes, which will be for sure Monday. I'll probably even release an episode Tuesday, or 2 episodes Monday, or even 2 Monday, maybe 1 Tuesday. But that's what you can look forward to in my next videos. I do appreciate everyone for watching, everyone for listening. I hope you guys have a great Friday afternoon, Friday evening, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy the weekend as it is Labor Day weekend. So I hope you guys have a great Labor Day weekend, whether you're going to the lake, just spending time with family, friends. Have a great Labor Day weekend. Enjoy it and enjoy the college football action this weekend. Hopefully you guys get a long weekend to enjoy that off from work. But I'm just excited. I love sports. I love college football. So I love this time of year. But with that, thank you for watching. And as always, go Blue.